Get roll call. Rick.
Here.
Clint.
Here.
Garrett. Here. John.
Here.
Travis. Here. Okay, vote to approve or not to approve to adopt and or amend board policies 4A through 4E.
Okay, talking about some of these, DECR1, this is sick leave for certified personnel, and this just adds some language that the federal government, Family Leave Act, updated some of their policies, so we have to update ours to match federal law. The support, it's added some new language with the COVID-19. They are not protected under, their salary is not protected, meaning if they don't work, they don't get paid. So we have added, it's almost 5 more days, basically. We've added more time for their sick leave in case we have to dig into that, waiting for a solution. And then that also ties into the emergency leave. This emergency leave plan is new, but it allows for a pandemic, but we provide emergency leave. So this emergency leave provides 10 days to our support personnel, which that gets us to April 6th. We're hoping to have a solution from the legislator by then. Don't know if that's going to happen, but we can this can be retroactive. So at our next board meeting, we may have to extend a little bit more of the emergency leave. They suggest right now 10 days at a time, so that's what's in here is basically the 10 days for the emergency leave. The leave sharing program, this is not a policy we had spelled out like this spells it out, but this will allow us, if for some reason one of our employees gets sick because of this and has to miss a lot of time, we can share some days so they're not doing without a paycheck. That's voluntary. You know, if a teacher or support personnel has a lot of hours built up, they can choose to share some of those hours once that person's sick leave runs out. But it's specific for illness and it spells it out in there. You know, it's not to go on vacation. And the last policy there is a policy that was already in place, but whenever we transferred to the new policy book, for some reason, it was missed, so we just need to put it back in there. That's kind of the general overview of all 5 of those. If you want more detail on them, I'll be more than happy to talk about them.
So everybody's getting paid?
Right now, till April 6th. The thing about support, which you got to keep in mind, is we pay over a 12-month period. So technically, they've already worked for the days they're paying, because they're only on a 10-month contract, paid over 12 months. So it'll be a little bit of time before they ever do without a paycheck. So we have time to find a solution. I don't want our support going on unemployment. That's just not something I want to entertain. So we're still waiting on what can we do. Can we allow them to work certain days? If we meet CDC guidelines, what is the state board going to allow us to do with them? And then we'll adjust our policies and do that on the 13th.
Did they even address any of that yesterday?
No. They said right now there's not a fix for support. We can have essential employees here right now, and that was it. So, but I do think after the April 6th we can start following CDC guidelines, and depending on what our continuous education plan looks like, we're going to need some more essential personnel. You know, one of the things we're looking at is our students, they don't have as much online capability, so we can't go virtual. We're going to have to create some packets for us. I was going to see what we're going to have to create. So we have 16% of our students do not have internet. 15% don't have a device, which, you know, that 16% that doesn't have internet, you know, and I know the longer this goes on, the more people are going to lose paychecks. What's going to be cut? You know, cable, internet, that kind of thing. So I expect that number to rise, not decrease. So us going strictly online is just not gonna be feasible, so we're gonna have to do packets, and how does that look like? Am I gonna bring my bus drivers up here, we're gonna create bus routes and deliver packets to them once a week, is what we're kinda looking at, so therefore those bus drivers become essential, and we can pay them that way, so keep them employed, that kind of thing. So we're working through this, and then we're still trying to get some guidance. We're supposed to have, from the State Department, tomorrow, the framework that we have to follow for our education plans. We don't even have that yet, so we're supposed to get them tomorrow, and then we'll create our plan.
What you're basically saying is that you're gonna have to develop packets for them to work off of.
Mhm.
And then you're gonna have to recollect these packets and grade them and go through that.
Yes. That's one of the options that we're looking at. Obviously, virtual's another one if they do have online, so maybe we're not hand delivering it to everybody in our building, but those who have online can do it online. Those who don't, we'll hand out packets. And then
How do they get help in something like that, if they need?
we're working on setting up office hours, call times for parents to call in. We're trying to get high school wise where we can do a virtual deal to where teachers online, virtual, maybe an hour, 2 hours, wherever it needs to be, and a kid can log into that and talk directly with them to get something worked out. That's more geared high school than elementary. But again, there's a lot of issues we've got to work through in this next week. And whatever plan we put together has to be approved by the State Department. So, this is just, we're having a staff meeting today at 2. We're gonna put out virtually, we're gonna put out, here's what we're looking at, get ideas from them as well, and try to be ready to go once we get our framework to implement the best we can. And some of these, we're looking to do a lot of enrichment stuff, which means that's not necessarily graded, but, parents, if they want to continue some of that, they've got enrichment opportunities. And the other thing we need to look at is carrying this into the summer. Have online platforms that parents can do some enrichment over the summer too, because there's going to be a gap. We've been done with school in March. Whatever we can do now, it's hard to do a ton of new learning without that one-on-one interaction with a teacher. So we're going to do what we can to meet those needs, and then know that there's going to be some gap come August when we start school that we're going to have to play some catch up. But hopefully by providing some enrichment over the summer, maybe we're not so far behind. So
How are you gonna determine how far behind you are?
the students come back in August.
Yeah.
Well, that's another question, there's into placement type tests that you typically do in the schools that we can create to where we can do a benchmark at the beginning and see what are the key concepts they might have lacked in the grade before, and then, spend the first couple of weeks catching them back up as best we can.
Could end up having a real crowded curriculum next year too.
Could, and it could be, we have more tutors or aides available to do more one-on-one help for those that are further behind than others. There's never one kid that's gonna be on the same pace as another. That's gonna be staggered throughout. So, you don't wanna hinder those on the upper from learning new things, but at the same time, we need to bring the bottom up as well. So, that, like I said, that could be aides, tutors, that kind of thing, that we provide some extra remediation time in next year's schedule for it. All questions and all unknowns, like I said, we're one day at a time working through what we can, but, we're gonna do the best we can to still educate these kids and get that out there.
When do you have to have the framework from them?
Sooner the better. We're supposed to be ready to go April 6th. So we get it Friday, so we'll spend the weekend putting it together and get it out to our teachers on Monday. We'll submit it to the State Department, and that way our teachers will have a week to kind of put stuff together. And that's kind of the basis of our meeting today, is so that we can get them thinking. You know, we've pulled Kansas's plan. They have a pretty good plan. We've pulled it. We've outlined some really good things that they're doing. That way our teachers can start getting their juices flowing on how to create what this might look like, so that we're not starting from square one come Monday with them.
Who all falls under the support staff? Is that like the aides, the janitors,
Aides, janitors,
Alan
maintenance,
included?
secretaries, bus drivers, all of those fall under there. But custodians and
But
maintenance,
maintenance, they're not essential?
they are,
They're essential.
they're working.
Okay.
Custodians, maintenance, essential. Payroll, encumbered stuff, that's essential. You know, right now, bus drivers aren't.
Bus drivers and
If we
aides basically
deliver,
right now.
if we deliver packets, they become essential.
Right.
We'll probably need an aide on that bus handing out the packets, so they may become essential at that point. Since we're supplying lunches, our child nutrition is essential, so Kelly's working.
How's that going?
It's going. The first day we had 4, the next day 11, and then 19, and then today 14. So under 20 every day. But we're still serving some purpose. Not as many as I'd like or hoped, but the longer this goes on, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, who knows what that number might grow to.
So do they just come up, pick them up, or?
Yeah, from 8 to 10, they call in, and then we have it ready from 11 to 12:30, they pull up and we bring it out to them.
Okay, any more questions on that? Do we have a motion?
Bruce,
I'll move.
We approve items 4A through 4E.
I'll second that.
Rick with motion, Clint with second. I'll vote yes.
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 Yes. Motion carried. Vote to approve or not to approve resolution to grant emergency powers to the superintendent for the remainder of the 2019-20 school year.
Okay, so what this has in it is, the first one is authority to temporarily waive board policies, provisions, anything that's deemed necessary for effective response under these federal laws, state guidelines, anything that we need to do to follow health and safety procedures put out by CDC, and adjust curriculum as needed without updating, changing policies, and having a meeting every time they change something at the state CDC level, health concerns. This kind of gives me the freedom to adjust these as needed without going in here and adjusting each policy, but gives me the leniency to do what we need to do to educate our kids, follow whatever federal and state guidelines that get changed. In here, it does state that anytime something is needing change waived, I'm still gonna communicate with you guys. It's not like you're gonna not know what's going on. But it's either that, or anytime something changes, we're gonna be right back here to have another meeting. Hopefully this doesn't last long, but there's no end in sight right now, so. And this gives me till June 30 as the end of this fiscal year, so to adjust as needed and do what we need to do. But this also gives me the authority to contract for any dollar amount for purchase of materials, equipment, supplies, if we need to purchase internet services or laptops or something that if we don't already have, which we have a lot of it. That way I can do that without coming to the meeting, waiting for you guys to approve it and then order it. This kind of gives me that authority. But again, anytime something happens, I'm gonna be in contact with you guys. This is just allowing us to fast track some of that stuff.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
Second. John, second. I'll vote yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn?
Second.
Garrett was second. John, how do you vote? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Adjourn.
Where's your construction